Working lap number 20 of 200 here at the O'Reilly 300, and Joey Logano has led from the drop of the green flag. And remember, we've got a mandatory caution coming up in 5 more laps. His lead over Kyle Busch is 0.8 of a second. This battle between the 32 of Reed Sorensen and the 6 of Ricky Stenhouse is for 12th, and they've been going after each other, and it looks now like Reed has finally cleared him.
Marty, going back about that caution coming out of lap 25, I mean, as a driver, you are looking forward to that. If your car's not handling right, you want to get down pit road, make some adjustments, kind of get back in the game, and that's a freebie, basically. NASCAR is going to throw the caution and let you work on these cars and get them right.
That is Brendan Gaughan in front of Justin Lofton, and then the 7 of Landon Castle. That battle is for 20th, 21st, and 22nd on the racetrack. We could also update you that now Mark Green is our second start in park, so Green and Setzer out of the race. Chad McCumbee is 4 laps down, but back out onto the racetrack. 3 laps until the mandatory caution. Let's get a sneak peek on what we can expect on the pit stops from Dave Burns.
On the 88 car, a new experience for Jamie McMurray. He wasn't even entered in this car a week ago, but they released Kelly Byers from this ride, and by Tuesday afternoon, that seat right there was being fitted for Jamie McMurray in this 88 car. They said that this car would be good for him, but he's begun learning it on Thursday, and right before this race went green, he even asked the guys about a couple of switches on the dash, what the labels meant, and he knew what they would do. He just needed to make sure he knew which ones did what. So lots of new things for him this week. A great run so far, running 5th, and pit stops in a nationwide car, something he hasn't done for a couple of years coming up.
And when he joined us during our rain broadcast, he really eloquently explained how difficult it is to drive these race cars.
Yeah, he kept telling all of us, he said, you guys have no idea how hard you have to drive these nationwide cars compared to a cup car. Not as much horsepower. They keep them really wound up big time in the center of the corner, and they're hard to drive. Now, Andy, I'd have to believe that it's harder for him now because he was involved in a big wreck about an hour ago in that cup race.
Yeah, that couldn't be any fun, but this is one thing that make you feel good. He's running really well, and like you say, you do have to drive these cars hard. You have to use a lot of throttle. You carry a lot of throttle, and the corner speeds are really high. They're actually higher than the cup cars.
Battle for 10th place between Justin Allgaier and his teammate and points leader Brad Keselowski. Let's go on board with Justin.
Well, these guys have been going at each other since the start of the race. They both have really good cars, and you see that 12 car now moved into the top 10.
Allgaier, of course, the winner back at Bristol. Brad, despite being the points leader, has yet to win a race this year, and he's taking a peek on the low side again. Justin seems to be able to run that higher line very effectively. You're not missing anything up front. Joey Logano has an 0.8 of a second lead. This is the closest battle we have in the top 20 positions.
Caution's out.
And the caution has now just come out at start finish. So that'll slow everybody down. And this was the one that we were expecting. They'll check the tires, make sure. They did the same thing in the Sprint Cup race earlier today, and it's a good move on NASCAR's part.
Yeah, it's just so many unknowns with the track conditions, the way it's been raining so much. And these cars, like I said, hadn't been on the track since Friday. So this will give them a chance to, like Rusty said, get a reset now. They tell their crew chief what they need, and they can make some adjustments.
Well, and I'm sure there's some people out there saying, wait a minute, but you have all this rubber down from the Sprint Cup. It still is a different track than it was 2 days ago.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the track conditions are totally different than the way they practiced, and so now the track is the way it's probably going to be the whole night. They can make good adjustments and be confident that the track's probably not going to change a whole lot from here.
Of course, Joey Logano with an 0.8 of a second lead probably was hoping they would have forgotten about that. Pit road is still closed. 7 of our top 10 drivers right now at the point of this caution were in the Cup race earlier today. So in the early going, at least, Rusty, what you talked about at the beginning of the broadcast, having that extra experience is paying off.
It is paying off right now, but one thing I am a little bit waiting to see what's going to happen is that in the Cup race, I watched it really close. The first 25 laps, they knew they had a caution flag coming out in the Cup race. They really were calm out there. Nobody had any problems. But after that 25 laps was up and they put tires on it, went out, then they started tearing stuff up.
That's when the real race starts.
That's when the real race starts, Andy, after this caution right here. And that's when we're going to probably see some action.
And let's talk about our Aaron's Lucky Dog free pass. It goes to Scott Lagasse Jr. as he will get back on the lead lap. And it'll be 33 cars now on the lead lap. Only 2 are out of this race, as we mentioned earlier, Mark Green and Dennis Setzer. Chad McCumbee is 4 laps down. The other cars are 1 lap behind.
I'm looking around. I don't really see why pit road was closed that time, but they kept the pit road closed the first time by there.
Jason Radcliffe. One of the things we saw, and we'll get into it as the race progresses, and it looks like Dale Jr. right over Pops there. Yes, it is. So after a good strong run by the 88 in the Cup race, although the finish probably wasn't as high as he was hoping, the car looks good, and he was running up front.
Tony Eury Sr. just so they were nicknamed him Pops. Here's Dan Deeringhoff. Did I say that right?
Deeringhoff.
Deeringhoff, yeah. Crew chief for Clint Boyer, the 21 car. These guys have won a lot of races together. In fact, I think they won the championship together as a team, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
Okay.
It's a championship run a couple years ago. It's 4 of Boyer's 8 wins with Deeringhoff on the box.
Key pit stop right here. This lets them all get adjusted, like we said. I mean, like I said a little while ago, when I was a driver, man, these were Mr. Feel-Good caution flags. I love these. If I was off a little bit, because I feel like I just got something free out of this deal.
So it looks like pit road will open this time. Flag is waving. And everybody will come down, and we'll be able to get 4 more tires. And it looks like it'll be Kyle Busch coming into first, and that means we'll send it to Dr. Jerry Punch.
And Marty, the reigning series champ, said the car's just a tick tight in the center of the corner office, so Jason Ratcliffe is called for a slight air pressure adjustment to try to get some more front grip. He said, otherwise, we're not going to touch a thing. Vince.
Carl Edwards in the center of your screen. They're going to put a round wedge in the left rear. The car's been a little bit too loose for Carl's liking, putting on 4 tires, scuffed tires, and filling it up with Sunoco fuel. Dave Burns.
Bottom of your screen, Jamie McMurray gives up 5th place. It'll be a slight air pressure adjustment for Jamie. His car was a little loosened, a little bit tied up. Leader Joey Logano leaves pit road. He'll be beat by his teammate, the 18, and Carl Edwards. They wanted just a slight adjustment in case they got stuck back in traffic. The car might have been too tight. Well, now he's got a little traffic to get around, guys.
So as we come back out onto the track, you showed it very easily there as Kyle Busch came off first. There he is. And right behind, the 20 of Joey Logano, the 60 of Carl Edwards. Several cars stayed out. We'll reset it for you when we come back.